Hello everyone, welcome to my live. In the previous live, we were talking about um, Luke chapter 9. I think we were talking about Luke chapter 9. I looked at my videos, but now I seem to have forgotten. In this live, we're going to be talking about Matthew chapter 17. If we haven't spoken about it, we will go back to it. It's barren terminology. So I have included in my work the um, the content from Denmark. So I am looking into Scandinavian movies, and I'm looking at movies coming from England. So movies that I've watched so far are coming from the the series of movies here on YouTube. That's a Scandinavian collection, and the other movies I've watched, it's um, movies coming from England. So I've watched Florence Nightingale, and um, I've also watched one movie. It's called The Lodgers. So I watched The Lodgers just 2 days ago, and I thought these movies, they do a huge work in just bringing together everything that is very important. I feel it's very important. When I look at the movies I've watched from Denmark, they bring in substance abuse. So I have watched on sexual assault and sexual harassment, um, rape, and all of these things. They come across very well. I've watched on Suspicion. There was a movie where a girl who was she was very slow in class. She was being laughed at by the other children, so bullying comes out very well. And then she goes off in the snow, and then she comes back and she's dead. So stuff like that comes out. There's like horror, so I really enjoy the horror in the movies, and I really enjoy um, the watching the drug abuse, and how drugs can really hold up on someone. So I've been seeing a lot of things from the media coming from Denmark, and then there are a few other things I've been seeing also. Hello, Maxine. There are a few other things that I've seen also from the movies I've watched. I've watched Albino Farm, that is coming from America. So now America comes into the mix, and America is straight out of captivity. So their content is very favorable to me. Um, and this is content that they have made from 2021, even before 2021. So the content is coming up and it's resurfacing because they are the captivity. So they are very important people now to me. When I see them, see their content, whereas before I wouldn't have been able to find them unless they are prioritized on social media, which is what's going on now. So I've seen the albino farm, and I can see that the movie itself is can be for people who are mainly living in America, but now it's coming to the rest of the world. All of us can see it because they are restored and the rest of the world is in captivity. So I see it. Hello everyone who's just come in. Hello guys. So that's something that I've been seeing. I watched the Albino Farm. It was really, really a lovely movie. Um, I watched Lodges. It also was a really good movie. It's based on the English and the Irish, and um, the ones who live below and the ones who live above. And I thought that was really beautiful because that is really fitting to the spiritual realm and all of these things that happen in the spiritual realm. So I've seen a lot of movies, a lot of content. So America comes in and they are in a sleep of death. So when I say I'm sleeping, I'm in a rest, they are they are looking and they see that they're in rest also. So I have two important players. It is the bishops and the pontiffs, and that's one person. And the other person is the president um, of America. So these two people, they come in and they 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 are part of the bridge in a sleep of death. So yikes. In between, they are limited now. Before they were open up. They could do anything they liked. From you could go from the side of England to the world and beyond, or the side of Denmark and Adventism and beyond, and to Jeff, straight to Jeff even. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? God has always set up, I think, boundaries between presidents and kings and of the world and the movements like Jeff's movement, Adventism. And now in the captivity of 2021, 2024, it was opened up so much that President Biden could see beyond Jeff and actually have a taste of that. It's like, whoa, goodness. I mean, yo, that's hectic, guys, because there are two things. It's either Jeff is dead or President Biden is demon possessed, you know. So, anyway, that is my take on it because the president works a lot with democratic issues, and Jeff is extremely, extremely sensitive. In you can see with his messages, he's very sensitive to these issues that now tend towards pushing demons into the issue. I'm from South Africa. Where are you from, Pedi? Hello, hello, Vegeta. So yeah. Anyway, that's over now. That is over now. That's over now. The issue now, the worry now, and concern is me. When I keep understanding myself in this issue, what's going on with me. So attention has turned straight to me, and I had to understand that that where I want to be and where I am with my prophetic messages. God is resting, and so I'm resting also. So I'm not going to be a part of the masses and things that have to do with the masses. I'm resting. So whatever I'm doing with my prophetic messages, my work, and and not where the masses are. So that's something that I had to deal with and understand very well because I had to understand that whatever I'm doing privately. So if I want to collaborate with companies, I do that privately. I don't have a third person from politics or sheiks or kings and queens speaking on my behalf. So that's what I have to understand, and that's okay. So I'm okay with that now. God wants to be in control of monitoring, taking care of my life, and I understand there is the ones that live below, they've come up. So when they've come up, God wants to be in person. He wants to work in person because he's jealous. He's jealous of his work. He's jealous of his people. When the ones that live below, if you watch the lodges, that's actually quite true, even if it is more theatrical there. There are ones who live below, and the spirits there, they do a work. So God becomes very jealous. I'm doing a work now, and I can see that if He rests, I should not be a part of the masses. I should rest too. I am with the messages of the River Jordan, and God's resting. I'm resting. That's what I do too. So that's what I'm gonna do. He's going to be um, in person working, and that is something that hasn't been happening in the world um, where I'm aware of it. But it has been happening in the world where the world leaders are aware of it. God has been working in the world where the world has been aware of it. And that's something that I had to be humble about. I had to be humble about the fact that the temple cleansing has been going on in the world. Um, the heathen churches and the Catholic Church has been doing a work all these years. They never stopped. They never changed. They're always the same. And God never called them to change. He never told them to stop. He just allowed these cleanups to happen throughout the entire time. So it's not something that's new. The cleanup that's coming to the body and all of these things, it's something that has been happening. It's just that because probation's closed for um, Adventism, for example, we don't know this, and entering into it calls for humility because now as an Adventist, you have to go to people in the world to go and understand what does this mean and what does this mean. And bits and pieces, people there will know the eyes, people there will know the brain, people there will know the teeth, people there will know the lips, the other people will know the legs, the other people know the feet, and from bits and pieces of little knowledge, and people going on with what they know from that point and that point around the world, they become a mighty army, as Ezekiel 37 talks about it. So I have had to be humble about it because I can see with my prophetic messages that things are a little bit downscaled to my own understanding, knowing that I'm a person, I'm a body, one person. So things happen very quickly, and I'm getting helped a lot more readily by the prophetic messages and the work going on because of the prophetic messages than it would be if it was just one person helping the entire church. So that's one thing I had to know that I'm not just one person helping the church because God called for me to do a work with my messages, and this helps my body. But the church is going to have little bits and pieces of different members of the congregation as a whole in the entire world, and they come up as a whole. they become a mighty army, and I'm not a part of that work. So, as I shared, I turned my face against them, and now I am cut off from their prophetic messages. I'm not a part of their work in them becoming a mighty army for the kingdom. I am going to be looking at Matthew 17 now. Matthew 17 is a repetition of Luke 9. So Luke 9 is talking about the work at the Mount of Transfiguration. So it reads, "And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart." So, one thing that I feel really, really helps is drawing line upon line. That methodology I still keep to. I have to study on the line. I just don't have the study with me right now in front of me. I think it is in my studies. I did the studies and then I took a picture of them just to keep them on my phone. So I think I do have it with me. This study is a repetition of Luke 9, but in this repetition, God does something, and you'll see later what He does. And this is verse 2 of chapter 17 of Matthew, of the book of Matthew. "And was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. Then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him." Um, there was a time I actually read what God said um, when Jesus Christ was baptized. He said, "This is my beloved Son, of whom I am well pleased." And here he says, "This is my beloved Son, of whom I am well pleased. Hear him." So, so this is something that I put as a prophetic symbol. And then it continues and says, "And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid. And Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. And as they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elias must first come? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elias is come already, and they knew him not. But I have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. So this is a story that is repeating what is being written in the book of Luke, chapter 9. This story is talking about the rising up of Jesus with the disciples Peter, James, and John. And these are disciples that are representing the angels' messages. Peter, his name, when you take his name as in the alphabet, and you take the numbering of his name, it goes to 144,000. So already it is talking about 144,000. Then there is James and John. And James and John are prophetic symbols just like Peter. Peter denied Christ 3 times. James is a James becomes a a husband to Ellen White. And Ellen White becomes a person that is very important with her writings in the works that I do. Um, John is very important, and it says that John his brother. So it's very important looking at John, because you get the beheading, you also get the visions, and visions is where I want to sit, because visions takes us to Abraham, and we understand right now that we are in the horror of great darkness. So so I will read to the end and then talk a little bit more on the horror of great darkness, as I want to keep repeating over and over again the visions that God gave to Abraham, because this is where we are now. We are talking about what God did. He put Abraham in a deep sleep, and this is where America is right now. They are out of captivity straight into a deep sleep. And this deep sleep will put them into a place where they are in the horror of great darkness. And when they're in the horror of great darkness, this is chaos building up in the world, as God allows these it is called the thunders to take place, to delineate. So these are world events to take place. So I'm gonna read um, verse 12 to verse 27, and it reads, "But I say unto you that Elias is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him, and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic, and sore vexed, for oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer for you? Bring him hither to me. And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him. And the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, Why could not we cast him out? And Jesus said unto him, Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto the mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. And while they abode in Galilee, Jesus said unto them, The Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men, and they shall kill him, and the third day he shall be raised again. And they were exceeding sorry. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, Does not your master pay tribute? He saith, Yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children, or of strangers? Peter saith unto him, Of strangers. Jesus saith unto him, Then are the children free. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, I said last year when I was sharing this, I said just to repeat what I was going through in 2024. And I don't know if I said it on social media, if I said it in my person. I met children last year. They were like a group of children that are trying to buy bread. And I didn't have a lot of money. I just had a few coins that I was using to pay my taxi money. But also I was using to buy fat cakes. This is amaguenya. And so I have this group of children that come to me and they say, "Oh, please can we have money? Please can we have money?" And I just it just came to me and I was like, lest I offend them. And I just looked at what I had and I just gave them. I think I gave them a 5 rand. And maybe someone else gave them a little few other coins that they had until they came together for them to buy bread because they went and bought bread. And I think I was very grateful that I actually did that because lest I offend them, and this is what this verse says. Howbeit the children are kings and queens and presidents and the children of people who are wealthy, when they are asking for donations, they are given donations. Um, and so what about children who are orphans? And children who are come from poor families, should they not be asking for donations? And here they are, and God says, lest we offend them, go and get money from a fish and give it to them. So he says, notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea and cast a hook and take up the fish that first cometh up. And when thou cast open his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money that take and give unto them for me and thee. So this is a miracle. He says to Peter, he must go to the sea, cast in a hook. Um, it is a play on words because when I crochet, it's like casting a hook. Show you the. It's like casting a hook on the wool to like make all these items I make. Anyway, so he says, cast in a hook, and the fish that comes first, you open its mouth and take the coin that is in its mouth and give it to the children, and this will be a donation for you and me. So that way, God, Jesus Christ, and Peter were not indebted to those children for not giving them donations. They did their part, giving the children donations. Um, this is a lot. I have been talking about it for quite some time. It is barren terminology. Um, the first thing that I want to talk about is um, it is barren. So barren is an important point because it has nothing to do with President Trump's son. The part where he is a political figure, yes. The part where he is um, a player in the childbearing, no. So the story of David getting married to the daughter of Saul is where it begins. So I wrote an article in 2020 before, I think it was right around the time I was kicked out of Just Movement. I wrote an article, and this article is talking about um, David, King David in the Bible, getting married to Michal. Michal is the daughter of Saul. So Michal, um, was very angry that David comes into the gates after his victory and he's dancing. And she, in her anger, didn't please God. And so God made her barren because of that. So, barren, meaning she didn't bear any children, comes in and we work on that. We are working on that. She doesn't have any children. So there is a lady who here in this instant representatives of lady that doesn't have any children. Which children? And understand that Jeff is expecting to be bearing children because he comes out and he has been working for 30 years and he's expecting to be bearing children as a woman, as a movement. But they find that, as he says, they don't have demons. They find that they don't bear those children. Um, and you can think that it's a twist on words, it's a twist on everything. But the the type of children that uh, are being um, are being given birth to right now are the type of children that have to do with the story of what's happening in the work in this time. The work in this time has to do with work of destruction, and this is the environment that our bodies are going to be cleansed. The destruction is coming from Daniel chapter 8. You can read it. It's Daniel chapter 8, verse 13 and 14. Daniel chapter 8, verse 13 and 14 reads, Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint. So, certain saint is, I think in the concordance, is pulmoni. But then the definition of pulmoni further in the concordance is the wonderful number of secrets. So that's where pulmoni is coming from. And then it continues and says, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? So this is time for a treading of a specific group of people by two entities. The first entity is a daily sacrifice, and the second entity is the transgression of desolation. So, verse 14 reads, And he said unto me, Unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. So, this cleansing of the sanctuary is talking about the cleansing that I am working in right now. This cleansing was talking about the heavenly sanctuary, which was talking about the sanctuary likened to the earthly, having the holy of holies and the holies and the courtyard. So when God speaks about the cleansing, He says that um, we should we should measure the temple and the courtyard we leave without. So I read this verse. My wrists are very small, as in my Bible is very heavy. My wrists. So if you can see, how small they actually are. This is how small all of my fingers actually like complete, and I leave space. All of them, there's like space. That's how small my wrists actually are. Because when I show you like this, the proportion of my body is so well done that you can't actually see. You can see here, you can even see some fat, but then when I start doing this, you can see this is not actually fat, it's bones. So yeah, but when you look at it, and I haven't done that, it's actually, it looks like fat, but this is a bone, and this is like a little bit of a, it's still a bone. So this is all bone, and this is a little bit of muscle. It's just skin, soft skin, and a little bit of muscles. But yeah, guys. So please bear with me. I'm not trying to gain sympathies on my my. So I'm a little bit feeble. So I've learned to understand that I get sick easily. I am feeble. I'm not really strong physically. So it's almost like I've had this a lot of spiritual strength that's coming from faith, and um I guess that's how it's been. I speak a lot. I'm very, very trustworthy in this. And I see with my face, and I look like I am. But when you start looking at me, and it's like the proportions of everything else around me, you start seeing how small my size actually is. I'm actually very small. My body frame is very small. My size is very small. But when I come closer and I'm like here the whole time, I just look very big, and everything on mine looks a little bit big, but actually, I'm actually very small. um, I wanted to read the verse I read the other day, and I just want to find it. It says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." So that's what I'm trying to find. It's Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. I don't know if it is actually Hosea. Yeah. So I think I just found it. Very happy. So it reads, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children." So this is where we are. It's God is very straightforward. It's like, you forget my precepts, I'll forget you. I'll forget your children. The verse that I wanted to emphasize on is the verse that speaks about um, that we should look into cleanse the temple, and then the courtyard we leave without. So that is the verse that I'm going to go back to. I read it the other day, but now I can see I am not. Joel talks about insects, and like looking at the hello Matwanese Mohammed. Um okay, so I will do my homework, and keep checking my references. We are going to be looking into these for quite some time. So it's about nearly um 40 minutes in this life, and we're still gonna go back to Genesis chapter 15 and look into the story of Abraham. Um, but I think one thing that makes me very happy with this live is that we've spoken about why the temple cleansing. There's a temple cleansing with the Daniel chapter 8, 13, 14, um, sanctuaries being cleansed. Um, Even though I still need to set up the just my understanding on why is it the temple cleansing being our bodies? Why is the sanctuary spoken about here being cleansed a sanctuary with a holy of holies and courtyard? What is that? I'm still gonna talk about that, and then I'm going to talk about the desolating powers so that we have that, my understanding, at least I have shared my understanding, and then I'll be happy that my understanding is out. Then we can start talking about what then are we doing? What am I doing? What are the things that is going on that we are doing with the prophetic messages in that sense? Because anything else we don't actually know. So that's what I'm going to deal with, and that's going to be fun. We're going to look into history, we're going to look into the Bible, we're going to look into all of these things, and that is something that we're going to keep doing. um Jeff's movement doesn't have demons. They don't have demons. They are not in terrorism. They don't have demons. They're not in wars. They're not soldiers. They're not in institutions of higher learning. They are against institutions of higher learning. So thank you, Muhammad. So they don't have demons. They're not scholars of um, in institutions of higher learning. So they don't have those demons coming from the impurities of politics coming from schools. Um, they are pro their children learning in homeschooling, so being taught at home everything so that they keep pure. So I don't know how far their purity has gone, but I know that they probably are pure, and that comes with being unlearned. And so when it comes to purity, they are probably pure. But when it comes to righteousness, they are probably not as righteous as the Nethinims, for example, because the Nethinims have gone through all of these phases, and they have been exposed to make very clear, concise decisions on specific issues. Um, and their decisions um, are very clear that if they had more light, they would be extremely, extremely on point with what God wants and them doing it because they truly love Him. So, purity versus righteousness is two different things. Purity and righteousness um, don't really align with each other very well. You can be pure and not be righteous, and you can be righteous and not necessarily be pure. So that's something that I'm coming across and that I'm starting to understand, because now we are talking about babies and we're talking about um, demons and demonology. America is in a deep sleep. They've they're going into a deep sleep, and they have to come to an understanding of Denmark and the UK. They probably know Denmark, the UK. And I don't know how far they go into the content. As America is a Christian nation, they've been trying to keep themselves pure. As I've been saying, that just movement is pure, but they might not be righteous. And so I find that one biggest test America is going to find is the really turnaround of events is righteousness, doing the right thing. Because um, after watching the content with Denmark and the UK, it really is hard because um, I think the content and the influence can turn you. It can turn you, your mind, your passions, your interests, and you really want to do something. You want to think about something. You want to. And the call for us to be fighting and all of that in the temple cleansing is not how we think we're going to be fighting, like in karate, and be tense and all of these things. Um, so, yeah, it's like, how can God allow Esther to do something that is wicked and yet she's a righteous person? And he did. He allowed her to do that. So America is gonna go through a phase in life where they they are gonna feel like they are being pushed into corners they don't want to enter into. And whether it is the ones from below coming up and testing their Christianity, or Denmark testing whether or not they are okay um, in their journey with God and all of these other things that is because yeah, anyway, yeah, I guess it makes sense. So I can say because but let's just leave it there. Yes, it does make sense. We all know exactly what I mean. So now I'm going to turn to Genesis chapter 15. Genesis chapter 15, and I'm gonna read the entire chapter. It reads, After these things the word of the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abraham, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abraham said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abraham said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take me an heifer 3 years old, and a she goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down unto the carcasses, Abraham drove them away. And when the sun going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abraham, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down, and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace, and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. The Canaanites and the Kenizzites and the Cadmonites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Rephaims and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Girgashites and the Jebusites. Hello, everyone who's just come in. Can I predict dreams? Um, no, my work is not actually in the predictions of dreams, but I might not know. Maybe maybe God opens up in those corners, but now I don't do that. I don't think I will be able to do that, in fact, because um, I am limited. My understanding and my work is very limited. So so anything that will attract attention from like people coming to me and saying, please can you do this for me? Please can you do that? Seems to be a way. So I find that, and I think about Joseph, for example. Joseph was called by Pharaoh, and Pharaoh's like, please can you interpret this for me? It's like something that is not, I'm limited there. So I don't think, even if I understand a little bit of these prophecies from the events of the world, I don't think I have that opened up. I think I'll have to still ask someone to come and interpret even my own dreams. So I think that is one thing that I've come to also understand, be humble about, to think that God has set up specific areas to say that I am here, but still need to not be calling someone from the movement I'm coming from, Jeff's movement, come and interpret my own dreams, and yet I can interpret the events going on in the world, and I have my own interpretations because of my limitations. Is something that I have come to understand in what I do. So yeah, unfortunately. People have talents opened up, um, I believe from last year. If people didn't have the fruits of the spirit before, they have the fruits of the spirit now. 2025 and onwards, with the cleansing of the temple, these are the type of things that God, um, as someone um, gets gets overcomes, they overcome and they get rewarded. They get God rewards them with more light and more light and more light. And light comes with blessings. So those blessings could be those talents, those blessings could be the sustenance, could be that provision, could be all sorts of things. So yeah, it's temple cleansings going on. Um, but it's God it's God working to also use these these cleansings as opportunities to test and also reward and bless his children. So yeah, people from a lot of stuff, but that's stuff that I might not be happy about, and that's a fact. I might not be happy about it, and that's another thing that I'm coming to understand. I might not be happy about it, but also I might not understand it, but I'm humble about it. Irrespective, I'm humble about it because there are certain things that are coming across in my mind that when I see in the future of the prophetic messages and how certain things started in the beginning, um, and the things that have been going on just generally without anyone saying anything, without anyone doing anything, just the things that are missing that are not considered, they bug me a lot. They bug me a lot. So when I'm bugged like that, I already know I'm not gonna like them because of that fact. So um, I'm just sticking to what I'm doing, and then I know I'm gonna be happy when I'm out, when I think outside the box, and when I am not partial in my judgment on things. And that's one thing that I keep praying to God for. I think that is one of the main reasons why I don't want to be so close to people, because if I am too close to people, for example, I'm working as a soldier, and I'm too close to people, and I get the influence coming from soldiers as a group of people, or um, political parties as a group of people, or terrorists as a group of people. I might end up being impartial. I might end up being very, I might end up being very partial in my judgment because of how some people might come across to me. I'm very sensitive. I'm like a little baby, and I've become very sensitive with the work that I'm doing. That to protect my judgment from me being judgmental about certain things, I have I have decided also. I think it helps with the decisions that I've taken. Be away from the masses. Be away from. I live in South Africa, you guys. I live in South Africa. It's like 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left to the end of my life. Guys, one thing I want to say before this live ends, it's like 1 minute before like an hour gone. The lodges. Guys, like, I know I really liked the albino farm. It's albino farm. I really liked the lodges. Lodges, guys. Yo, hey, like, I'm not joking. Okay, that's nice to know, Mohammed. South Africa is hectic, eh? It's very hectic. Like, hopefully everything's okay with you here in South Africa. I live in South Africa, but like 2021, it took like it didn't even take 4 years, and America's like you guys, but yeah, I can see I'm probably gonna end up in America one day. In the future, I'm looking at art residencies, guys. I have my book. My book is out. It's called Hot Dishes. It's out on Amazon. You guys can go and get it. That book's out. It's been out for so long, but I just keep repeating that it is out so that anyone who's new doesn't know that I'm selling my book called Hot Dishes. You can go and get it, Amazon. Hot Dishes by Mamela Zimasa. You can get the ebook for less than $1, and the paperback is $12. Guys, three movies that I think I really, really liked watching while I was away. It is the Albino Farm, it is The Lodges, and the third movie, and I say is a series of movies, it is The Fall from Scandinavian Media. And these last movies that I just watched recently, which are these three movies, have been very, very important. Very, very cool, very, very good. So, yeah, guys, I recommend them. And I am looking into more horror movies. I've been downloading a lot of horror movies. I've been getting myself into that phase, and quite honestly, they are helping me have a very peaceful rest. And I don't know how to even just put it, you know. But I haven't been able to sleep properly. But I think they really really put me to that really nice sleep, and I sleep so well now. I sleep like a little baby. Um, the benefits of the work that I am doing where I am with horror great darkness, as I say, we are sitting on the horror great darkness, is the edge to go and work in mortuaries. I've been looking at funeral parlors. So yesterday I went to one funeral parlor and I went to go and inquire on whether or not I'll be able to work as a makeup artist to cleanse and wash the bodies of dead people. But they just said they don't really have jobs like that there. Um, so if I want to do something like that, I have to just research online and stuff. But I have my eyes on nursing in December at the end of this year. So that's going to be something that really helps me have a peaceful rest, guys. I really need to have a peaceful sleep. Other than that, you guys, um, life has been okay, but I'm just giving America a heads up on the way we deal with the sleep. Is it can be a peaceful sleep. It can be. It's that horror of great darkness, to deal with that horror great darkness. Um, and that's how we're gonna have a really lovely sleep. Um, what else am I gonna talk about? I don't want to talk too much about this media that I'm watching. Of course, I am clear about it. Um, I do want to share. I haven't been a person who's been watching television, especially in the prophetic messages. I've been away from television, and so I think God actually allowed this to then be happening at this time. He wants to put the prophetic messages so they become an environment where then now I'm dealing with horror and everything, and it's at a time where I can understand what's going on. So I don't want to say don't try this at home, but someone like Jeff now can look at what's going on and think of how vulnerable my mind is. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. All of these, even the movies I'm talking about, they're very dangerous. But with the prophetic messages, for me, they're good. For someone who's listening to me and is navigating on this work in the Bible, it's good. For America, of course, the presidents, it is good. As for them, it is just to they know they just know. So anyway, guys, I really miss going online. I will have to say, it's like, and I'm just happy I'm back. I just have, I think I just loaded like 10 gig. So this is day and night, and then yeah, I'm working on the bubonic plague blanket. Good night, Mohammed. Around 11. Thank you, Mohammed. Um, yeah, I'm probably gonna be back today at midnight, so that's tomorrow morning again. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, guys, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So someone supported me on Kofi. If you guys are thinking of supporting me on Kofi, we are up on Kofi. You can send your donations there if you're interested. You can tip me there, Kofi, if that's what you're interested in doing. You can buy from our shop, Kofi, if that's what you're interested in doing. We have memberships. We have a shop where we're selling pineapple hats, our crochet items. We have our window open up for tips and donations. Yeah, and as someone just tipped me, the person tipped me the day before on the service that I did, and yeah, I'm very happy. I received the money. I saw it go straight into my PayPal, so I know Kofi doesn't take anything from my money. I also now trust Kofi, and so I'm very happy because I needed that. I actually needed that. I've never used Kofi before. It's the first time I was using Kofi. And I just put my shop there. I was just like going by faith. I didn't actually know how it's gonna go. So I put my PayPal there. And I didn't know how it's gonna go. But with the person that came and actually tipped me, I was very happy. I received my funds, and Kofi didn't even take a single cent from my funds. They came straight to me. So yeah, I'm very happy with that service. Anyway, what else do I want to share? Um, yeah, I'm gonna be around for quite some time, guys. Anyway, I'm very happy to have you guys on my live. I hope to see you in the next live. We are going to be talking a little bit more on what we've been talking about, Matthew 17. I also need to just mention that now we are transitioning um, from what we were saying when we were saying black, you know. We spoke about the child going through seizures, and that seizures is something important because seizures becomes a sickness, and the child goes through these seizures, and um, the child's demon possessed. So that's the demonology that I'm talking about. The demonology on whether it is witchcraft, whether it is all of these things happening, um, and and then I want to talk a little bit more on the ones that live below because I'm not used to them, but there are people who might be used to them. So this is, I need to talk about it because from the side of me depending on God, God takes care of the work that I do, and with Him taking care of everything I do, um, the interactions between me and the ones from below is not going to be so close too much because I don't have the power to deal with them. They do things and they're beings, and I don't think they're necessarily demons. So these are the beings that guard me, and in the lodges, they talk a little bit more on how they take care of them, but I don't know to what extent they guard me, but I know that they guard me. There is a point in this history where the presidents and the bishops are not going to be aware of what's going on with me, and the only beings I'll have left are the ones who live below. So those beings that are not necessarily people, so not necessarily demons, I don't know what what they are. God knows those beings, and those are the beings that I think is outside of the Bible. So I don't want to think too much about it because that's the part that I don't actually understand. There is a book that is in addition to the Bible, and I've been trying to read that book a little bit. It has 13 other books that were not included in the Bible, but they're actually a part of the Bible somehow. So that is a part that I'm very slow at. I'm very slow at. So when it comes to that part, I become almost dumb. I become stupid at because I don't actually know it very well, but I know it exists. Um, so because it exists, I don't know it very well. So I live with the things that I do know, and then everything else that I don't know just continues on its own way. But I know that with the media, as we move into this horror great darkness, I will come to know it, and as I come to know it, I won't actually understand it, but I'll know it. So, so I guess that's where I am now. So, guys, that's what has been going on, and this brings us to the end of our life. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.